Push.
Has to be the morning after. All right, hit the go live button.
All right, we ready to record?
We are live.
All right.
From the industrial wastelands of Michigan to the fruited plains of Iowa, this is the American
Private
Breed.
nature is a sheer perversity.
You are the dead. Remain exactly where you are. Make no move until you are ordered.
We burn them to ashes and then burn the ashes. That's our official motto.
Now we can see you. Clasp your hands behind your heads. Stand out in the middle of the room. Stand back to back.
Who can explain the fascination of fire? What draws us to it? Whether we're young or old.
Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Here comes a chopper to chop off your head.
And welcome to the American Greed Factory podcast. This is Nathan.
This is Conlon.
We're all here. Let's see, we're here just in time for Impeachment Failure 2. The Pride of a Nation. So that happened today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what I think of.
No.
Like, is this just another great feint by the Republican Party to get the Democrats to just fall on their face again, or is this just like the great cowardice of the Republican Party? Or is it both?
Well, I mean, it's a combination of political calculation and not alienating people. You know, you might need the next time you run. So
We put all our voters in jail.
Yeah. Well, the ones that are still eligible to vote the next election. Yeah, it's all political calculations, and yeah, on both sides too. So don't let them kid you. Believe me, there are people.
Well,
that
the other side
fight
didn't
this
have
to the-
like the jury help them with their case.
Yeah. Rubio and Cruz didn't meet with the House prosecutors, or the House managers or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's all. I knew this wasn't going to happen. It seemed transparently
Yeah, it just became
loaded from the beginning. Just a
theatrical
game.
bullshit in all directions.
It was just like the Russiagate thing. It's just like, oh yeah, here we go. You're going to get him for collusion, aren't you? Nah, no, you're not.
Well, I mean, that's what I always said at the beginning. Like, he's both dumb enough and smart enough to just like never be responsible for anything.
Yeah. He's cunning. He's not smart, but he's cunning. And he doesn't have to appeal to anyone's better nature to win. As a matter of fact, it's the opposite in many cases. He appeals to the anger in people. So, but yeah, this scene.
I'm almost done with Hate Inc. But
Yeah. He doesn't seem like, or it doesn't seem like it was. I mean, it was nothing. I was not greatly surprised.
no.
This seemed more like showmanship, and this was like a Roman Colosseum show more than actual justice or debating right and wrong. There was clearly someone wrong here, but it was just lost in the shuffle.
Well, I don't think it was lost in the shuffle. I think it was just ignored in the shuffle.
Oh,
I mean, because they had a bunch of stories like, oh, the Republican senators are openly meeting with Trump's lawyers, which doesn't make any goddamn sense. Because like the jurors like going, it's like basically like a defense lawyer going up to jurors and having a private meeting with them, and it doesn't make any sense.
Hey, what do you think will help us win? It's like, we're the jury. Shut up.
I
Well, that,
don't
like-
know what the rules are on legislative trials, though. Is that illegal?
Yeah, well, I mean,
it should be, but
I don't know if it's illegal, but everybody seemed pissed off because a bunch of Republican GOP senators were talking about the Trump's lawyers, like they're on our side, and it's like, no, like you're not supposed to be on anybody's side, you fucking dicks. You're supposed
But
to
also, I
fucking-
mean, this isn't necessarily like an exacting court of law, so.
yeah. Yeah, this is one of those things where I mean, I don't know anything about the law really, except stuff I've read, but I know very little about public trials by the House and then the Senate, like what the rules, what you can and can't do. Because it seems like everyone talks about everything on TV, and this is our strategy for prosecuting him. It's like, why are you telling this to people on CNN? Shouldn't you just wait? And because then they made this pitch to have meetings and interview witnesses this morning, and then by this afternoon he's acquitted. And it's like, well, okay, I thought this was going to go on for 5 more weeks, but he's acquitted. So long. Too bad he can't tweet and tell us how he really feels. Sure, we get some insight there.
He can just buy one of those planes that fly letter messages across the sky.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he'll be out of money soon, so he'll be able to do that. But
well,
I mean,
it's like people said, he's not free of civil liability. He's not free of all these cops who died. They can sue him. I mean, there's all kinds of things that could. There's all kinds of legal stuff waiting in the weeds for Trump, I think. Or not. Maybe he'll just get a pass on everything because he's one of those magic men.
We'll just if we just don't bother, maybe he'll go away. No, he won't.
Yeah, you can count on that.
Well, there's also like people were like speculating like he's gonna like run off to some other country to be like safe from like prosecution in America. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be highly unprecedented that a former president runs to another country to get away from it.
Yeah, we're usually the country that former presidents of other countries run to get away from prosecution. I don't think you can really get away from America prosecution-wise, especially if you're high profile. It's like even if you don't have an extradition treaty, there's something we have that you want that you don't want to pay 1,000% export tariff on. So, what's he worth? But who knows? I mean, that happened today. Fuck it, whatever. It is what it is.
Move on, I guess.
Yes, I mean they've never got this guy once on any of the stuff they say they are, and they've never tried to get him on the stuff that should be obvious. But that makes me cynical about the whole thing. It's like, who do I believe? QAnon?
Yeah, but there's so many things where it's like, well, this should be the end of this guy's career, and it just wasn't for some reason.
Yeah, well, that has to do with what he appeals to in people and how he brings to the kind of people he brings together. It's like, yeah, they don't care about how bad he is. They think the other side's interdimensional pedophile, child-eating lizards. It's like, yeah, if that's really what you truly believe, then there's clearly a right and a wrong here. But of course, I've never seen any evidence of that. So,
and then, what's her name? Recently, just got let go from Disney.
Gina Carano.
Yeah, Gina Carano.
Yeah,
not sad about that.
Yeah, she seemed to be making increasingly charged statements on social media. About,
would you see the last one that she finally got fired for?
Yeah. Just comparing the COVID-19 restrictions and the political climate in this country to the Holocaust.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
But like a weirdly doubling down on it and like not blaming the Nazis, but blaming the Jews, but then comparing herself as the Jews. Like, what the fuck are you doing? I don't even know if she is Jewish or not. I'm guessing she isn't.
I think it sounds Italian to me,
yeah,
but I don't know.
That sounds like an Italian name, but I don't know.
I mean, she's a lady whose job is to hit people, who plays a character in a fiction show. Can you just keep your mouth shut long enough to let those checks roll in? I mean, if I got a job at Disney, I would delete all my social media stuff tomorrow and never have an opinion about anything. What do you think about that? $100,000? Like what? That's what I make. That's what I think. $100,000. I have no opinion on any controversial subject. I'll talk about the show I'm working on and what I think of the writing and the actors and what my insights and feelings are. But yeah, I'm not going to dispense health information, talk about COVID conspiracies, or kind of blame the Jews for the Holocaust. You know, it's like, no, these are not things that keep you on a Disney show. And they shouldn't. I mean, they're fine. Yeah, this is a case where I'm like, yeah, okay, get rid of her. Sometimes I think that stuff gets a little too touchy-feely, but in this case, it's like...
I mean, like, if this was, like, her first thing, you'd be like, maybe have her go to sensitivity classes or whatever, even though that stuff's bullshit anyways. But this is like the fifth thing in a row, so...
Yeah, when you're jumping right to the Holocaust to talk about American politics, you've just gone just into another dimension.
But this is also a problem with like a lot of like health and fitness and people in the fighting community and like CrossFit, Like this is just pervasive because it's like COVID hit, and these are people who like are healthy and know how to be healthy and know how to tell other people to be healthy, and then they think that that makes them a doctor, that makes them a virologist, and they know everything about it. And then it's like no, and then they become anti-maskers and all this other bullshit.
Yeah, you're good at one thing. Just be good at that and be happy. You're gonna live a great
Yeah,
life.
and also the thing about like health and fitness is like whatever works for you doesn't necessarily work for everybody else.
Yeah, if that's your thing, do it. And that's why I don't go on Facebook and Twitter and hold forth with controversial opinions. I do that here because I can talk for 3 hours and explain, anything I'm saying. And I'm good at nothing and an expert at nothing either. I just have fun doing this. But it's not like I don't have a million followers that may or may not listen to me. So it's it bears a certain. All the stuff with the celebrities and the weird political stuff and not keeping it in their pants. It's like, you guys, you got the tiger by the tail here. Just be cool, okay? Whatever you got to say, don't just stop and think and move on. Just like that guy on The Expanse that like just torpedoed his whole career over trying to, I don't know, sleep with groupies or whatever and sending them dirty texts. It's like, why are you doing this? Just stop. What are you? And you're married, for fuck's sake. What? Oh, I don't get it.
Well, because one of my coworker that's always the bright bulb with all the Trump stuff and stuff, he was asking why Gina Carano got fired. He's like, oh, this whole cancel culture bullshit. I'm like, yeah, it's not bullshit. Whatever. It's like you're legitimately canceling people's careers because they literally did or said something horrible that nobody that is in that position should have that opinion or do that. He was like, I don't agree with that. You shouldn't be into people's careers. And like, I had to lose my job if I said a bunch of racist or fucking weird shit.
Yeah. I would lose my job over, not over having a supported opinion that's not popular, but just saying just outright hateful stuff for the sake of hate. I mean, any one of us would lose our job for that.
And if she doesn't want to get fired for her opinion, then she should put that in her contract that she can't be fired for it. And she'll never get hired if that's in her contracts.
Yeah, because I know when you work for Disney, they have like a morals clause and stuff. I mean, all those companies do.
Yeah, that's
well,
because like you have these businesses that are like, got hit by waves of Me Too stuff, and like they're like it's like conservative businesses who think like, oh, we're not giving into this fucking woke culture bullshit. Like, no, it's in their these moral clauses and stuff. It's like, oh, this is a bad look. We're just getting rid of them. It's like these people aren't necessarily like moralistic about it. It's just because it looks bad on them. They're like, get rid of them.
Just like Bill Burr said, it's like these people don't give a shit. If they could sell whatever jelly beans to Nazis and make money and not lose money in other ways, they would do it. They don't want a dime rolling out their front door. They don't. And this is all Bill Burr saying this, not me. They do not care about right or wrong. It's all about money. Now, the weird culture can explode it into something else. But I mean, at the end of the day, though, just keep your mouth shut. If you're famous, just keep your mouth shut. It's not worth it. Don't ruin my entertainment for your weird crypto Nazi fascist points that you think you got to make. That's going to fool nobody.
Like that when you're famous, it's like people come looking for your opinion, and it's like, oh, people are interested, and like it's a very easy bait thing to fall into. It's like, oh, people want to know what I think, and it's like, oh,
tell them funny stories about when you were drunk once. Then.
Well,
because we're giving away all our shit off the top of our head for free, and nobody bites. So like, we don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah, nobody cares. Yeah, if a lot of people were watching this, we'd be very guarded right now.
Well, that's like why Andrew, I'll let you talk eventually. I know I've interrupted you about 4 times, but
you're fine.
Why I'm very critical of Joe Rogan, especially recently, is like, it was fun when like in the beginning, like he could be kind of irresponsible, but now 50 million people like listen to this dipshit. He needs to be more careful.
What's he done recently? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, it's just like I don't think I've listened to one show since he's moved to Texas.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, but it's just kind of this general thing of him giving misinformation, and
Oh,
stuff
that's
in general.
Yeah, I don't listen to those shows. If
I
if I look
mean,
in the descriptor that today Doctor so and so's on to talk about anything, now if it said so and so's on to talk about eugenics, I'm like, oh well, here goes Joe Rogan's career. I want to see this episode. But when he has
Sure.
Alex Jones and people like that on, I know that's just fun.
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
I'm not horrified by that. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a train wreck.
But like,
yeah, I don't
like you
even
could
listen
have
to the
those
Health
episodes
and
early
Fitness.
on in Joe Rogan, and it's like, and you just be skeptical of it, and like that's fine. But now it's like, people aren't being skeptical. It's just like, oh, this is the God honest truth, the fight from Joe Rogan. It's like,
Oh yeah, that's
I mean, also consider like how much bullshit like I bought because of the suggestions he's made. Remember Alpha Brain? Well, nobody
Yeah, yeah.
does because I bought that shit. It didn't do shit, and he sold that stuff until they couldn't claim that it did things anymore. It's like and he's like a part of that whole On It thing. Like he has a stake in that company, and like it's a supplement company, or like which half of that stuff is just total bullshit because it's not regulated by the FDA. So it's like as long as it's not killing people, like you can just sell whatever.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, see those episodes I just tuned out. So I don't,
Well, yeah,
I'm just
when
when the guy's on to talk about UFOs, then I'm like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, well, also like not just those episodes. It's like these are always like kind of casual, offhand stuff where he's just like, like just health and fitness stuff in general, and then like and he's always going on about the mask stuff until like Bill Burr just told him to shut the fuck up because he's not a doctor, but he's still like But that's what I said. I haven't listened since Texas, so.
Yeah, it's fine. It's the same as it always
And I
was.
haven't canceled Joe Rogan. It's just like there hasn't been one I've wanted to listen to because I usually like when Tom Segura comes on, like I'll listen to
Yeah.
that because I love when those guys get together, or him, Tom, and what's the other guy, the crazy guy,
Bert Kreischer?
Bert Kreischer. Yes, like those are great episodes, but a lot of the guests he's had on recently, I just have no interest in.
Yeah, no, I there's certain I filter it. I listen to what I can. But Andrew, anyway, sorry.
No. I was just talking about the guy I work with that he's been going off about for the last 2 weeks about Morgan Wallen, this country music star. Do you guys know what happened with that?
He said some racist thing and it got caught on a doorbell camera.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
supposedly talking to another friend about another friend to get the N word in line or whatever, and then ever since, like he's had a couple of things canceled as far as like radio play and a few things for his record contract. But like otherwise, his album sales have like quadrupled in the last like week because, of course, racist people.
Racist
But
people still buy CDs.
but at the same time, he was like, "Can you believe that? Can you believe that somebody is holding him accountable for that? And is like saying he apologized and shit." I'm like, "Yeah, I can. He's a goddamn star. He should know that fucking everything he says is going to be taken to task." It's like you and me being in the public eye. If we just said Jews took over the world, we'd be taken to task. It doesn't matter if we have evidence or not, or if we said it as a joke.
I don't know. Probably the weirdest one is like, you remember the Papa John's guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know why he got ousted out of the company?
Is this because he said racist shit in a meeting?
Okay, so the meeting was about avoiding saying racist shit, and he used some racist shit as an example of not to say, and then they used that against him to oust him out of the company because he basically said an example out loud.
Well, that sucks for him.
Yeah, it sounds like they wanted him out anyway. And it's like, oh, here's the reason.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, they fired a good person. It's just like, oh, well.
No, he's a shit of a human being.
Well, no, it's just something that's like me and Nathan asking Colin, like, Colin, say the most racist shit you can think of right now, then using that to take you off the podcast.
Bigot.
Jesus fucking. I mean, yeah, all these people that own all these giant fucking, like, food corporations, like the guy from Jimmy John's that hunts exotic animals for fun, and like fucking Papa John, whatever the fuck his name is. Like, I know he's probably, don't really know all the things he's gotten up to, but what I've heard, it wasn't been very fucking good. But at the same time, you still feel bad if he's like basically framed out of his job. Like, Jesus. I wish they would do that more almost.
What people got to realize is there's a private life and a public life. See, I have a private life where I say some very harsh things. I don't pull any punches in my private life, but I'm also not talking to strangers either. I'm talking to family members, friends. I love horrible jokes, nasty humor, all that. Opie and Anthony didn't roll hard enough for me sometimes, but I don't bring that here. I don't bring that to work. That is my private life. And yeah, just yelling and saying stuff, even as an example, no one views that as like, oh, it was an innocent mistake anymore. If you have to utter that in a business or public's, environment, everyone just thinks you're playing games, or it's like, oh, you're just trying to be edgy. Well, this is what happens when you're edgy now. You get fired. Because if word gets around that you did that, it's like they don't want to lose any money. And they don't, they don't care about your freedom of speech. You do have freedom of speech. You can say all that shit you want to. It's just they don't have to give you a paycheck for doing it. And that's what people seem to miss. There's a private life and a public life. Now, in the case of this country singer, it doesn't sound like he was yelling this on stage, but then again, too, I don't know why you have to call your friends that, but well, whatever.
Well, because you're a white guy with a mullet, and it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he literally has a mullet, so it's not, but anyway, I mean, it's nobody pays anybody, because I mean, I almost got fired over that kind of shit because I just made a stupid joke or whatever because it was something to, because this, I mean, I've never worked at a place where basically I wasn't free to tell like a very moderate, not very funny joke before and been held accountable for it, because I've never said anything racist or anything fucking homophobic or anything like that. It's just something, it was just making fun of a cult. And it's just like, oh, I'm sorry, that new coworker is part of that cult. I'm sorry. It's like, oh my God, I'm sorry I made fun of that cult. It's just not, it's like, oh shit, I should have known better, I guess, not to insult people that are too, because the guy doesn't even read, he doesn't read anything past a teenager's book because he feels like it's too much for him. Like he's literally said that to me before when he's been reading a book. I'm like, oh, is your son reading that or whatever? Because he has like kids that are my age or whatever. So it's like, oh, I thought maybe he was reading it for his grandkids or some shit. It's like, no, he's just reading it because he likes teenage mystery novels.
Well,
Okay.
No, we figured this out before. We assume that he doesn't want to. He doesn't like sex and stuff in his books, and so typically, young adult novels don't feature sex in them.
Or if it does, it's not vividly described.
Yeah, because I mean, I haven't really seen him reading a lot of books since, but at the same time, it's like, oh, somebody else to read the book. Maybe I can ask him what it, like, no, I don't want to ask him what his favorite book is, because it's not going to be anything I want to read. Because, I mean, it's, I mean, fine, whatever.
And the mystery of the clitoris.
How do you please a woman? Oh, God! Oh, fuck. No, I mean, but he just constantly bitches about his wife and bitches about, everybody being libtards and shit like that. It's like, yeah, this is a person I want to get to know better.
Yeah.
Because he's so offended that I made a joke about his cult.
Is this a Mormon we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, so, I mean, he wasn't even a Mormon. He just married into it with his wife, and he bitches about his wife. So you think he'd have more of a sense of humor about it, but apparently not.
Well, he's just mad because he married into it. He only gets one wife. If he could become a bishop, he could have a handmaid and a wife or whatever they do.
Of course, because he's definitely in his like mid to late 60s now. So it's like I probably maybe his early 60s. I don't know. I've never really asked him his age, but he used to work for like J&A Printing in town. He thinks he's hot shit because he's like, oh yeah, I did this and whatever there, and I know what to do here. And it's like, well, that was a printing company, and this is a place that makes milk and juice machines. So exactly, what do you think is your experience level here? Because he right away started like trying to like, oh yeah, you should do it this way, and it's like, you haven't done this before either, so how the fuck you tell me how to do this? And then he was telling somebody that worked there for 30 years, no, slow down, do it this way. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? And he's been doing that the whole time. He's always the one that knows everything, and he wants to tell everybody how to do their job. And I
have transferable menial job skills. I have value.
Yeah, I know. It's like I have no position to walk in there and tell people that work there for 30 years how to do their job, because they pretty sure it's just lifting and moving boxes in different locations. It's not exactly a hard job. So he knows the secrets. So I mean, he was the one that dictated like, oh, we can't do any more work, otherwise we'll run out of overtime, because he won't give us overtime if this conveyor belt's full of shit to do. And it's like, if it's past this, we gotta stop working now. And it's like, well, it's good to know that you're the boss, because you had some middle management skills at a company that had nothing to do with this one. Like,
Well, and I'll tell you from years of experience that slowing down your work to preserve overtime is that's never a winning move, because they can always figure that shit out. And usually if work slows down, it's because there's not as much sales. So whatever. Like I said, what do I know? I'm more than 70% of the plants laid off, and I'm required to be there.
yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Literally sorting things 4 stories high on a dock. Yeah, we want you to look for extra tags. It's like, come on, you really don't have anything for me. But I did it. I unstacked them all. Unstacked almost half a warehouse of stuff. People came by like, "What are you doing?" I said, "This is what he told me to do." But they were like, "Well, it doesn't mean you really do it." It's like, yeah, it does. Yeah, I'll march right off the end of a pier with them telling me what to do. It's like, I'll do exactly what they say. There's a whole subreddit thing on that called malicious compliance.
Yeah, I know. I love that subreddit because sometimes it has really gold information.
Yeah, it's like, this is what you want, boss. Thy will be done. I didn't say this. No, it's exactly what you said. This is exactly what I'm doing here is what you told me to do. Don't you have any common sense? It's like, yeah, my common sense tells me do what the boss says.
Yeah, most people would say that's a pretty good line to toe.
Yeah.
You don't really want to be on the boss's bad side by not doing what he says.
Even though they can tell by the look on my face and the gleam in my eye, they know it was done with malice. It's like, no, this is what they told me to do. Oh my God, all this shit's out of order. We're going to have to reorganize it. Hey, no one said anything about order. They said double tag.
I think we just hired,
was not part of the instruction.
I think we just hired a bunch of people that were middle management or wanted to be managers because everybody likes to tell you what to do all day.
I hate those fucking people.
You get one person, it's like an order that says emergency, today's date, and it says ship to that, and they try and walk you through it. It's like, I need you to pick this part, stamp it emergency, put it over there, and box it. It's like, so what we normally do, right? Yeah. Like, okay, on it. I can read. So when it says EMG 128 2021, I think I know that it's an emergency for today. Like, what kind of code did you think I had to decipher to figure that one out?
Yeah, we had a regional manager come in and like just spew some random bullshit. Like, he basically doesn't like when things are perpendicular.
He's got some phobia. That's become like a job skill now.
Because he has like this like, this is how I want things stocked, and it's like all the meals need to be standing up so people can see it, and like I stock everything individually to like how our customers treat it. So if it's shit that we can't keep on the shelf, I'm putting as much on the shelf as I can because we're constantly out of it. If it's something we can't sell for the life of it, I make it look good. I stand it up and make it stand out. But like, people aren't going to spend $15 on National Hebrew mini corn dogs, but they will spend $20 on some White Castle burgers. So,
yeah.
or Jack's pizzas, or
yeah, but those are cheap.
Well, I just mean they'll buy. I mean, just like today, every time I go to Walmart, there's always somebody having an armful of Jack's pizzas and putting it in their cart.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just like they'll buy the shit out of that, just like you're talking about. Either put the stuff you're going to move out there, and then hold the stuff you can't fucking sell.
Oh, we have all the Jack's pizzas out. I don't have any Jack's pizzas in the back, and if we do, it's bullshit. I'm like, those can go out. That's every day is my job, is me coming into the freezer and just going, fuck, that can go out, that can go out, that can go. And now they don't even want to give me the tools to do my job, because they used to have this scanner thing where you like do all this stuff and make sure, you know, stuff is scanned in the back or stuff in the front, and like now I have to like share with a different department who's like more important than mine. So basically I don't get the tools, so I just go to work and like it's like, well, you won't give me the tools, but all the shit's out there. So
did you scan this in with my eyes?
But yeah, so like he's having to stack it different ways, because you know, like, and it's like shit where it's like, you know, I want all the appetizers, I want them like laying down, and then there's like a bunch of shit where they're laying down. There is no way to tell what the product is. It's just like cooking instructions facing the fucking customers. And like, you can't tell these fucking morons that like, hey, let's not have it do it that way because people can't tell what it fucking is. It's like, no, I want it looking this way. It's like, is this how you justify your job? Is just coming in here? It's like, I don't like that. It's like, do you sell this shit? Because I do.
Are you gonna walk into a grocery store and look at the directions for how to bake something and like, I want that instead of this
Yeah,
thing?
you can't tell these fucking morons. And because he wants these things stacked these ways, like shit's falling off the shelf. We're putting less product out on the shelf because how he wants it stocked. And there's just the back. It was like, you can't sell shit if it's sitting in the back. It's like just fucking idiots that come in and justify their jobs. And, it's a regional manor, so they just come in, do a little inspection, and they leave for the, fucking quarter of a year.
Well, it's because it's one of those managers who always has to find a problem, even though the one doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's what.
Or he finds the wrong problem.
Yeah, that's how they keep their job, is by making problems up. And they're making more than I do, so it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah, at work we have a code for that. Like when the quality team comes out or the safety team, they want to redo the way we stack stuff. It's like, oh, we got a JJP Protocol 1 coming out. Just job justification program P1. That's mean to say that. It's like, well, they don't. Yeah, they're nervous because they sit up front and do fucking nothing 350 days a year. And then it's like, oh, sales are down. Oh, that axe is getting sharpened. We better get out there and change stuff. Meanwhile, I can't get a forklift to last a 8-hour shift because the battery's dead or the hoses explode in my face, which is always fun. Did you get hydraulic fluid all over you? Yeah. Was it real hot? Yeah. That's fucked up. And they just drive away like, thanks.
Anyways, let's not bring our hatred of work to the podcast to ruin our sacred podcast.
Yeah.
No, I was just talking about general shit everybody goes through. I mean, more than anything, I think everybody likes to vent about shit sometimes, but I do it more than shit.
Sometimes, well, I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like I never want to talk about my job, and of course I don't. But it's like
well, I mean,
want
to
to
be
talk
fair,
about the humorous aspects of my job.
yeah.
No, speaking of lifting, I've been lifting.
What'd you pick up?
I bought a weight set.
Okay.
Because of COVID, like all the gym equipment around here is just bought up,
Right.
except for like the most expensive stuff. So I was listening to a podcast, listening to High and Mighty podcast, and they were talking about weightlifting. I was like, fuck it, I'll just look into a barbell, and then I looked up barbell reviews and ended up on the Rogue Fitness barbell. I think it's the Rogue 2.0 barbell, which is, I guess, Rogue Fitness. They do a lot of CrossFit stuff. So, it's just a regular ass barbell, but, it has two. There's like these rings where you put your finger when you lift weights, but like it has two of them, and I don't know what the fuck it does. But it's an Olympic barbell, so it's 20 kilograms, which means it's about 45 pounds.
Okay.
And I've never really done weightlifting like at all, and with no consistency. Because like whenever I go into the gym and like to do like bench, I'd use the Smith machine. Like, do you guys know what a Smith machine is?
Of course
Yeah.
not.
Well, no, Nathan, you said you've done some weightlifting before.
Yeah,
right?
I did a lot of weightlifting in high school because it made me tired and not so angry because of all the problems I had. So, yeah.
So do you guys know what a power rack is?
Yes.
No.
A bit. Well, if you go like in a gym, there's kind of like there'd be like this like 4-cornered cage, and it's where you can do like, that's where people usually do squats, or you can do bench. Like there's like all these holes in the cage. It's all steel, and you can just put various things in it so you can do all your weightlifting shit.
Yeah, you can do squats, military presses, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
And so a Smith machine it's like a power cage, except like there is a bar that's attached to the cage itself, and it rides on these rails, and then there's basically like a ratchet system. So anytime if you roll the bar forward, it'll catch on these bars. So like if you're doing if you're doing a bench and like you can't push it anymore, you just roll it forward and then you duck out of there. So it's a
Yeah, it
it's a
keeps the
safe-
barbell off your neck with 200 pounds
Yeah,
on it,
yeah.
which is, if you don't have a spotter.
Yeah, so it's to work without a spotter essentially.
Yeah.
So, but every time I'd go into the gym, like there'd be somebody using it, and so I was like, well, guess we're just not doing that today. And so like going into the gym, that was always an excuse just to never do weightlifting stuff because even though like my idea of like gym bros, I've never met like a gym bro who just like make fun of you for like trying to lift weights and stuff. Like that shit's all in most people's heads, but I don't even want to like encounter the guy who was like, "Oh, my worst nightmare exists." So now I have my own bench, and it's got spotter arms on it. Which spotter arms is just a long thing that sticks out, and like when you do bench, like you put a really huge like arch in your back when you do bench,
Hmm.
and so you set up the spotter arm so that like when you bring the bar down, it'll touch your chest, but if you lose that arch, then like it'll just set on the spotter arms, and so like you'll never like drop the weight on yourself, but you will. But like if you're in the arch, you can bring it down to your chest and move it up like it's just a regular bench thing. So that's the safety for the bench stuff. And I just started real low, so I just put 20. So I have the bar, and I just put 25-pound plates on the end, and I've just been doing everything with that, and I'm just like seeing like where my limit is, because like I have all these there's like all these routines you're supposed to do, and it always says like 80% of your 1 rep max, and like I don't know what my 1 rep max is. I've never lifted weights consistently before. So I'm just figuring that stuff out. But so I got the Rogue barbell set, and then I got their Rogue Fitness. They have the weights there too, but I got bumper plates, mil spec bumper plates.
Oh, okay. Yeah, those are nice.
So yeah, this is just a 10-pound thing, but they make it the same size as like the 45 pounds and 25-pound ones. So it's kind of nice. So yeah,
Oh,
this
that's
one-
psychologically nice because when you pick that up like that for a second, I thought, oh, he must be lifting weights. That's like 45-pound weight. He's
Yeah,
just fucking pulling up
yeah.
casually.
Oh yeah. Here, you see, like that's the thing. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it's basically rubber coated.
Yeah, it's basically just a solid tire.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's a bunch of weightlifting stuff you're supposed to do that like when you get to the end of your repetition, you're just supposed to like drop the weights.
Yep.
So this is stuff that's good for that. So you won't like break the ground with a steel plate, or
Yeah.
the steel plates won't break themselves. So you got this stuff. But even though it makes a sound, so I got some of these pads that you throw it on, so like it doesn't, so it makes even less of a sound.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like the mil spec bumper plate. I don't really know what that means. Essentially, it means you can take it outside. If you want to take all this shit
Yeah.
outside and work out outside, you can do that too.
Work out in the sun.
Yeah. Get some vitamin D.
Yep.
So yeah, I've just been doing it for 3 weeks, and mostly it's like I got a treadmill, but I just like stopped using that because like when it comes to cardio, like I have expectations, and so now I'm just bummed myself out that I don't want to do it because like especially at my weight right now, it's like I know what technically I can do at my weight, but like the chance for injury is like 80%, and so it's even if I calm down, I just feel like I'm not doing it. Like this needs to be full force, and like I'm just not there yet. So, but weights, I have no expectation. So I'm just starting low. I'm just trying to build a habit before I build expectations. So yeah, I do bench on like I don't even put gym clothes on. Like I do bench on Mondays. I have that's the most complicated thing I have, where it's like 3 different grips and 48 reps, and like I'm done in 15 minutes, and that's all I do. And then on Tuesday I got sumo deadlifts,
Okay.
which is it's supposed to be like kind of safer for your back and better on your calves, I think. But it's like the sumo guys get in that like low position and they have their feet really wide, so that's kind of like the position you get in for this deadlift. And then you just do a deadlift, and then you just drop the weight. And then the most dangerous one, and one I don't really know what I'm doing, but I've just seen videos and I'm kind of scared of it, is the clean and jerk.
Mm.
So that one is like you have the weight on the ground, you fling it up to your chest,
Yep.
your top of your chest like this, and then you just kind of from there you do an overhead press. So being that I just put 25-pound plates on the end. You know, that's 95 pounds. So that's why I started. And that one I immediately knew, like, okay, this clean and jerk, it's like this one's gonna be the one I'm gonna because each week I just add 10 pounds to the weight. So I'm just gonna keep doing that until I find like where my limit is on stuff. But that one's gonna be the first one where I like, I have to stop doing this. I can't add more weight on this. And then on say Wednesday do clean, and then like for the squats or the deadlifts I just do 3 sets of 7, and then for the clean and jerks I just do 7 total, and then I'm done for the day. And then on Thursday I do squats because the way the bench I have is it has like these towers like attached to the bench itself, and you can flip it around and use it like use it to do squats.
Oh,
Because
okay.
as long as I'm not like throwing like 600 pounds on the thing, it's not gonna flip the bench over.
Yeah. I should ask my brother what that guy that plays for Wisconsin.
I mean, your son.
My brother, my son, whoever. The other male.
What do you want to
guy-
ask me?
Hold on, let me send him a text. Go ahead.
But there's like things I hear about like with weightlifting where it's like, and people told me this before. I just never got into it. But it's like it'll change your metabolic rate. So like you don't have to do so much to lose the weight because you're building muscle, and then your body will just kind of like, if you start building more muscle, then your body will just naturally have a higher metabolic rate and like burn more.
Oh,
But-
okay.
But I'm not expecting that. So right now I'm just adding the weightlifting stuff, and then eventually like I'll do a diet stuff at some point. But I'm not doing that right now. So just one thing at a time.
Yeah,
No,
weightlifting. I enjoyed it when I did it in high school, and I did it for all 4 years. No, I never looked any bigger. I never, I'm not like a massive guy, or I mean, I'm fat, but I'm not like a huge man. But when it was time to like work on things and like use your hands, it's like, oh, this is a lot easier. Let's pull this 4-cylinder engine out of this car with our hands.
Also, like another thing I'm doing is like building up muscle chains and shit like that to like help my back and stuff. And so yeah, it's been helping that. And so because there's a lot of
Okay.
things like
I got the answer. He could squat 550 pounds.
Jesus.
This guy was playing for Wisconsin now. He was one of Grayson's football player friends, and Grayson said for comparison, I could do 250. So, yeah, this guy was a lot bigger.
Yeah, I have a weird. Well, I have the only muscle on my body really is my calves.
Yeah.
Because I always had there's problems I had sometimes with running where like my upper legs would hurt very badly because like my upper legs are not as developed as my lower legs, and there was that inconsistency there, and there'd be like
So your lower legs were just overpowering
Yeah.
your upper, and you were extending muscles.
Well, I can remember I was on the basketball team where I could go to the gym, and it's like I didn't know how to bench or anything, and I didn't know what I could do, and like basically my upper body sucks. But like they had like the they had shit like the calf raise machine.
Yeah, you can put it all the way to the bottom pin
Yeah,
just
yep.
all day.
Put the whole rack on.
People will be like, "What the fuck? What can you bench? Like 80 pounds?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we got the same body type or similar.
Yeah, it's been helping my back because there's a lot of things that's like, well, I guess you're getting older. It's like your body's just falling apart, and it's not necessarily that. It's like your body's like, hey, you're not using that anymore because we're not going to fuck around with that if you're not going to use it.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, to change topics, has anybody watched Resident Alien at all?
Is that on Sci-Fi? I know what it is.
Yeah. Well, the first 2 episodes are free on YouTube right now.
Okay.
So I watched the first 2 episodes. I I found on Hulu you gotta pay like $70 a month to watch it, so not gonna do that.
Is that just their cable service that they do?
Yeah, their live TV thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, well, shit. Maybe at some point it'll come out on streaming in the full season, but I have no idea how many episodes have actually come out yet. But so far, it's been the first 2 episodes have been really good. Like Alan Tudyk is what makes that show.
Yeah.
It's really fucking. It has a lot of funny moments that I didn't like. They really well.
Explain the premise to Nathan, because I've seen commercials, so I kind of know what it is.
All right, so an alien crash lands on a planet because his ship is hit by lightning, and then he kills a human and takes his form in order to blend in and kind of be part of society, even though he doesn't want to be because he's just trying to find his ship, the bomb that he's trying to basically set off to kill humanity and leave the planet. And so it's like he's just trying to get by, but then like the first episode, he's takes over a doctor's body that was head of a pathology lab at Rutgers and also a clinical psychologist. And so like they call him into town because the local town doctor has been murdered, or so they think. And like the first episode is kind of dealing with that and like the autopsy and the funeral and stuff like that. And then the second episode is kind of like him just covering healthcare services in the town. Even though there's a kid in town that can see who he is, and that's actually the mayor's son. So he's like trying to like one up or kill him like for 2 episodes. And so that's kind of weird to see like Alan Tudyk like play with a child actor, like just openly tell him all the time, "I'm gonna fucking kill you," or just like basically try and like fucking have a scheme where he like cuts his brakes so maybe he like fucking rides down the hill and goes into traffic or whatever, just shit like that. And then just he thinks he's like the smartest person. He learns all his English from like Law and Order episodes. Shit. He doesn't know how to interact with humanity, but at the same time, he also actually does a good job. So I don't know. It's a good show, and I really wish I had access to more of the 2 episodes, but I guess I'm willing to wait until it comes out later somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting acting work.
Oh,
Always
yeah.
liked
He's
him on,
Canadian, so he'll always have like some sci-fi job.
I liked him in what was the
Firefly?
space? Yeah, Firefly.
Yeah, because he's also
He
good.
was a weird character in Transformers, one of the Transformers movies.
I guess I didn't know that because I knew he did the voice acting in the Rogue One.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a
he was.
bad robot, and also Tucker and Dale versus. Evil.
Yeah, he's really fucking good in that movie. I wish they'd make a sequel, but I don't think
I've
they
never
will.
seen that. Is that worth watching?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah,
Yes, it is.
it's funny.
I'm gonna watch that Psycho Gorman tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, at some point, we need to talk about Tenet.
I gotta find a way to watch it.
I mean, it's
Like I
on
said-
Amazon, so-
Nathan, give me your address. I'll express ship it to you free of charge. You can have the copy knowing that you can watch it as much as you want. On 4K, it's brilliant. It has all the special features. It has 2 discs so you can watch it in 2 areas of your home at the same time.
I don't have a 4K player.
No, it's
I'll
a
send-
Blu-ray, right?
Oh.
Yeah,
Blu-ray or
Yeah,
whatever.
4K or Blu-ray, either one. I mean,
I think I have a Blu-ray player. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
We
so you can
got
play it in one. Sorry, you can play in one area of your house at the same time.
we still got. Well, I guess maybe you sold off the Xbox, but yeah, the Xbox One is a Blu-ray player.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I don't know. I think I have one. I'm sure I do somewhere.
Well, I'm on my second Xbox One because unfortunately the disc player and the one that I got for free burned out after 4 years. So it still works. It's upstairs in a box, but it only works digitally.
Yeah,
But no,
some happened to yours, the ones I got used you guys too, but mine still works. My Xbox.
Well,
One's still
good.
kicking.
I'm glad yours still works because I really liked it and I used it a lot, and unfortunately it just didn't last, or at least the disc player didn't last.
I mean,
And
all it cost me was taking other people's pop
Mountain Dew
bottles,
caps.
and then to push it over the edge, I bought a bunch of Doritos, because if you redeem the codes alongside Dorito bags, you got like double the points. So I just pushed it over the edge to get 3 Xboxes.
I really find it a shame they didn't do the same thing the next console. It turned out
Yeah.
you want a new Xbox One S? Like, yes, I do.
Well, wait a year.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I haven't really looked for anything because I'm not really in the market for one because I've been spending a lot of money on other stuff. But at the same time, I guess I wouldn't mind if I got one, especially
Well,
to play Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I've been because like right now I've been looking to get, because like I was playing Cyberpunk. I stopped playing because I'm kind of waiting for some updates to kick in, and it just looked terrible. Like everything was on low settings. But then I got it to a point where it's like I could get mostly everything on high settings, and like it looked okay, it looked really good and it played okay. I was like, all right, I'm fine with this. But I think it's like my computer can handle it. I think the video card's the only thing that's bottleneckling it. And then, man, you cannot find a fucking video card under $5,000.
Yeah, have you seen some of the shipments to like people have been videoing like shipments to computer repair parts and stuff like that? The armored cars
Yeah.
delivering graphics cards. It's like Jesus fucking Christ, goddamn Bitcoin, calm the fuck down.
Well, it's not just that; it's also just the
Oh,
scarcity of the chips right now. But yeah, there's like because like Nvidia stuff they just came out with is like really affordable for like what it does. Like it's technically not as good as the AMD because like Nvidia really fucked up their kind of future proofing, and AMD's like a generation ahead of them, and so all Nvidia did was like, well, what if we just up the power and it just use more power? So they're like, okay. So like while the Nvidia will put out as much power as you want with using less energy, the AMD will do that. The Nvidia is like, they just put more energy through the graphics card so it has the same performance, but it's technically not as good. But also Nvidia has all the RTX stuff, which is like the light shading stuff, which is like not necessarily exclusive to their cards, but it's like it does it better. But yeah, so basically it'd be easy. It's be easier to get an Xbox or a PS5 before you can get a fucking graphics card.
Well, I mean, I've seen a lot of people like posting their PC builds throughout the years. So I guess I knew graphics cards were pricey and rare still, just because. I mean, pandemic stuff. But I didn't realize the chip shortage was hitting everybody that hard.
Well, I mean, it's been like that forever. So, it was the cryptocurrency stuff where people were buying it before. Like that's what was driving the price up and the scarcity. And now they have these new cards, and now they're actually like kind of affordable for because like that it's like the 380, the Nvidia 380. It's like $600, and you get a lot. Like it's a beefy card for $600 because usually like what it's offering, like you'd have to spend $3,000 to get like a GeForce Titan card is like $3,000, and it's like 2 generations old, and like it's a better card than that, and it's like Jesus, like what the fuck did they do? But
It's a lot of money.
yeah, well, they're also like because they fuck things up, they're competing on price, so like they're just I'm not sure it's taking a loss, just less of a profit to keep themselves in the market compared to what AMD is doing.
Yeah, because I was intrigued by how much shit was right now. So I like went to shopping for graphics cards, and it's like, oh, the EVGA 30 or RTX 3080 with 10 gigabytes of DDR6X RAM, 320 bit. It's like, oh, $1,500. Okay, take my money. It's like, but like some of the like, hey, Amazon's got a graphics card for $90. Oh, what is that? It's like, I'm pretty sure not anything that good.
Well, I even went one step further. I was like on Dell. I was like, well, maybe I can get it from them because like they'll build you the computer with the graphics card you want. Like it's easier to build a new computer to get a graphics card than it is to just buy a fucking graphics card. And I was like looking at like just getting it from them, like maybe because you can't just buy a graphics card from them. And I was like, well, maybe I can finance it. And I was like, well, I can't get the card I want for the price I want. But I was looking at like basically like these graphics cards like that you use to do like high end like visual effects work. And they're like $4,000.
Jesus.
And guess what? They're sold out.
Can't get them, huh?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Well, that's fucking. Sorry, I was like we're listening to you, but also like the $90 graphics card has fucking really awesome reviews for some reason. It's like that doesn't make it. It's like wow, it's like oh, plays Minecraft great. I'm like, well, Minecraft's not really what I would call
Is that
a fucking
I
good.
don't know, maybe it's like a graphics card meant for a laptop or something.
I mean, it kind of seems small enough to people are putting it in desktops. So, I mean, it supposedly has 10 or sorry, it's supposed to has like 10 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, which I'm pretty sure is not obviously as good as the other one, but it still says 32-bit.
That's where it's like that's really where my graphics card is hurting is like the video RAM. Like it just doesn't have enough for what the modern games are asking for. But
Oh yeah, and that's why it's like I can't keep up with trying to play modern shit on the PC because like what you custom build the best gaming rig you can, and it's good for a year or two, and then you gotta plop another couple.
I mean, this bad boy's been around for 5 years. I mean, so like everything's great on it. It's just like Cyberpunk was the first game to like, ah man, do I need to upgrade? But like, really, that's Cyberpunk's problem, not really my computer's problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, they didn't really make a game that fit today's market as far as a bunch of people being actually able to play it without a lot of passion. But at the same time, I don't know. It's like you try and have an advanced look on life and have advanced graphics and advanced gameplay because that's how you really advance video games and make things better. But if people aren't actually able to play it, then what the fuck's the point?
Well, I think my experience has been okay, but like the joke is like the ones on the Xbox One and the PS4 are just, from what I hear, are just unplayable.
Yeah, and I really wish I wouldn't have. I like ordered it and waited a day, and then read some reviews, and I was like, it can't be that bad. And I was like, oh yeah, it is bad. And I just canceled it outright and never hasn't even looked at it since because I'm like, well, I don't need to pump money into playing this game right now.
Hey, that's been scarcity tech talk.
Yes, if you would like an ADM Radeon Pro 7 graphics card, $1,900, I can get you one right now.
Wow.
Well,
There's 3 available. Come on, let's get on this.
Well, yeah, and a lot of this is just the scalper market too, where they just pick them up. Because I got like a weird, I was like, because I was looking at Amazon, like sent me a thing, like, do you want to buy this? And it was like, it was one of those Nvidia cards, but they were selling it for like $1,600. I'm like, is this the one I was looking at? And it was like, no, it's like the lesser one that's worth like $600, but they're selling it for $1,600. And it's like, oh, fuck you.
This is evil.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to custom build a PC, not unless for some reason I have a lot of time and a lot of disposable income for no reason. Because the only thing I've been playing recently is BattleTech, and that's still chugging a little bit on my computer, but it's not that bad, or at least comparatively anyway.
I mean, that game's like 3 or 4 years old, so it's probably all right.
Yeah. But even then, it's kind of sad that it's like I seem to have to like delete the save files. It can't be more than 5, otherwise it chugs more. And it's like, well, okay,
That's weird.
that's fucking yeah, I know. And it's like I just bought all the DLC for it because it was on sale for the lunar sale or
what
whatever.
kind of hard drive do you have? You got like an
Not
SSD, or is it still optical?
I just have a solid state drive. I don't have a solid state drive. I have a regular hard drive. I didn't spring for that because this isn't a custom built machine. This is just something that was like, oh, that's like $900 at Best Buy,
Yeah.
and it has like seemingly decent stats. And it was way better than my old computer that's still sitting on the floor over here. So-
That's it. Like, yeah, look at getting an internal SSD. Like, you'll be surprised, like, what kind of performance that'll add to your games.
Oh yeah, because I can't even play like most of the games I have anymore because of the load time is so fucking horrendous. It's like, well, that battle was cool. Now I need to wait 10 minutes for it to load back to the map.
Or
Time to go outside and smoke a joint.
or they have these new hard drives that are even more crazy, where they're basically, like, it's basically a RAM stick, but it's an SSD card. But it's like a 500 gig hard drive. But because it's like basically a RAM card, like it's super fast. But it's a hard drive.
See, I thought like SSD hard drives like 5 years ago. My God, like they're so fucking expensive. It was like, no, you're not gonna be able to afford it.
Yeah.
I get a 1 terabyte one now for less than I would pay for like my monitor.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah, that's,
Jesus.
that's when I finally picked one, because usually like on sale on Christmas is when I get new hard drives, because like it's the only thing is like I can like, yeah, I'll get that on sale because everything else is just bullshit. It's like I'll never use that. That'll go in the trash. But like I'll use a hard drive. So I just Christmas time is hard drive time. So I got like a terabyte SSD that's now almost full because of all the fucking games I installed to it.
Well, there's a Seagate Barracuda computer, 2 terabyte one for $55.
Really?
Oh,
Jesus.
Yeah, it says it's. I mean, it's 6 GB, 7,200 RPM.
Oh,
yeah.
that's not an SSD then. So
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. No. I don't. What the fuck did that pop up for? What the hell?
is it a combo? Because sometimes they have those hybrid drives.
Doesn't look like it. I don't know what. Like, it's the fifth result on SSD, so I don't know why it pops up on SSD on Amazon. Okay. Good Amazon. You're putting up stuff that doesn't make any sense.
Maybe-
At first, I was like, "This is 1 TB one from Samsung for 114." Then scroll 5 down. Is like, oh, Seagate, they make hard drives. It didn't even read the HHD thing. I'm like, okay. Fucking it. Okay, never mind.
It might be, yeah, it might be a hybrid drive because they have those where it's like a combination. But
Yeah.
So my last Mac had the hybrid thing.
Okay.
Now mine's all.
which is weird instances when when the hybrid drive is actually faster than just a standard SSD, which I don't. There's reasons for it. I can't remember why, but yeah, it's weird. Anyways, watched the movie this week.
Watched the movie this week. We watched Oliver Stone's 1999 Any Given Sunday, which was a movie about football.
Yeah.
But reminded me of every football movie from the 70s.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, The Longest Yard, North Dallas 40, Semi-Tough. It did remind me of Black Sunday, but that's a cool football movie I also like, but it's not really about football.
Oh, what's Black Sunday? I've never seen that.
Where they steal the Goodyear blimp and it's a giant Claymore mine. It's the terrorists.
No, I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's a weird it's a John Frankenheimer film.
Huh.
It's a good movie. I mean, it's about 70s terrorists, but
Yeah.
it's like it would have killed a lot of people if it was one of those movies that came out and it's like, why are we putting this in people's heads? It would not be really hard to do. But yeah. But this movie was a ensemble cast, a bunch of actors
Oh yeah,
Or
it's of course it's an Oliver Stone movie, so it's another fantastic cast.
starting with Al Pacino, Cameron Diaz, Dennis Quaid, Jamie Foxx, LL Cool J, James Woods, John C. McGinley.
He's back.
He's back. Jim Brown and Lawrence Taylor were also in it.
Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, and a 12-year-old Aaron Eckhart. And it was
Bill Bellamy.
and it was an absolutely okay movie.
Yeah.
I remember it more fondly than when I watched it because I felt like I was watching a movie that had very incoherent football scenes and not enough backstory with the actors. I was like, oh, I always remember this being very engaging with the actors, and then I watched it.
Well,
I was like, maybe not so much.
Well, I think like there's good characters and characters have good scenes, but there's just a lot of characters, like there is in every Oliver Stone movie.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the relationship with Al Pacino and Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
That worked out good. I didn't like the Cameron Diaz, Al Pacino, greedy football team owner
I think Cameron Diaz is kind of miscast in this, or it's a little bit over her head.
Yeah. Because I didn't find it compelling or interesting, except at the end when he's.
Well, the only part that like I guess like she fit in is when she's just going to the locker room and shaking that one guy's hand while he's just naked. It's like, and she's just like passing through like nothing's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen this movie before, and it was my first time going into it. And I was really confused by some of the choices Oliver Stone made with the editing and the cuts, because I really hated all the flashback, fake past football bullshit during the whole movie. Like, it didn't make any sense to me, and it just seemed like they could have not included it and made it a better movie.
Well,
the shaky can't.
I think it's just like it's not about like the X's and O's of football. It's more about the drama of football.
No, I know. I mean, I kind of got. I know, but at the same time,
and Oliver Stone playing the like the
Oh, the in-out.
play-by-play.
Yeah.
And there's one I didn't notice before, but like there's like something I forget. It's like I think it's when the second quarterback gets knocked out of the game. You can see him like he has like just a flask of whiskey and he's like chugging it down. I never noticed that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that. No, but I mean, it's just like that, and like the shaky cam during certain moments, like to either create tension or like hype it up, and it's like I didn't like that either. Like a lot of the characters I didn't like in the movie, not because they weren't developed well, just like they were
Yeah,
seemingly in excess and didn't need to exist. There was too many like you guys talked about. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot of time, and I wouldn't say anything's really fleshed out. The owner is the weaker character. I don't know why Dennis Quaid is in this movie. Like, I know he's supposed to be like the old veteran guy, but he seems like he's way too old to play a 38-year-old guy.
yeah. Yeah, like
I
when he
mean,
said he was 38, I was like, fuck you. Like, I'm 37, and it's like, this guy's a year older than me? Like, fuck that. I mean,
Well,
if you, like, I don't know, if you think of the time, like, this is, like, around the time, like, Brett Favre was thinking about retiring, like, he kind of looks like Brett Favre of that time. That's kind of, like, what I compared it to, like, at the time. And also, like, in football, 38 is, like, nightmarishly old, so... Anyway, Tom Brady just won another Super Bowl at 43, so that's an outlier.
Yeah.
like, I kind of laughed like when his wife like hit him when he said he wanted to quit football or whatever, like call him a pussy and just like hit him. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, one, her character doesn't really have any time in the movie, so you don't know why this is her reaction. She just seems like she's totally like a bitch, basically. But then he just goes back to playing anyway. It's
Well,
like,
I think that's also
oh.
that's like an unexpected reaction, like because
Yeah.
the whole thing surrounding him is like he should probably stop playing football to save his health and live out a good life, and then she's like, "I have plans. We need money. Fuck you."
I thought on that field.
But also, like,
thing
yeah,
is-
like, I think, yeah, like the character arcs aren't good for most of the characters, but I think like every character has like a good scene. Because I think like the
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor, like he's kind of like, he has like the drama of like, oh, one more hit and he's gone, like he's dead or whatever, or he's gonna be paralyzed, and that's kind of like the drama of his character. But like that scene in the shower where he's just like maniacally giving a monologue, like, holy shit, Lawrence Taylor can act.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
No,
him,
I mean,
him and what was it? Him and Jamie Foxx in the sauna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's like I don't mind any of the characters in the movie. I know a lot of athletes are probably complete pieces of shit, but at the same time, it's like LL Cool J's character is like, oh, he goes from doing like cocaine and having random sex with people at a party to being like, and only caring about his money to like being a good teammate later on in the film. And it's like, what is this about? Like, it seems like
yeah, that's the whole like that moment where Dennis Quaid gets put back in the game, and it's like Jamie Foxx talks about like, he learned more in the first 2 quarters watching him play football than he did his entire career. That's supposed to be the whole turnaround where like everybody learns to love the game again because Captain's in there. What's his name? I can't remember. Captain something. But also like I know like a lot of NFL people like fucking hate this movie. But like it's way ahead of its time because a lot of the drama it purports here turned out to be pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Now
Head trauma.
it's very condensed. The drama of football and how it ruins people's lives. Like this is this has the density of a dying sun when it comes to those things. But like all that stuff played out, like it all ended up being true. Because like talking about concussions ending people's careers and stuff like that, and like that's like 15 years before like people actually got serious about that shit. So.
well, I mean, it's just something where like the movie scene. I like Al Pacino's character. Like, I think he is a good character in that movie. My favorite scene is probably like him and Jamie Foxx having dinner and like the whole Ben-Hur like chariot race is going on, like intercut with it. Like for some reason, I really like that scene. I don't know why. Probably because it like is
but you hate when they intercut with like old football stuff.
just because the Ben-Hur thing makes sense because it's like an open conflict between 2 people and 2 ideals, and one has to come out ahead. But they're each clashing and they each have a good point, but at the same time they're both overshadowed by each other. But then you have the old football scene that doesn't make any sense. Like the guy with a neck injury that might die at the next hit, he's like flashing back to old football crowds. It's like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, this doesn't make any goddamn sense. Like the other intercuts do, but that doesn't make any sense.
But also, like, we had our whole movies of '99 series, and there's a reason we didn't pick this as one of them because it's fine, but it's not. It doesn't stand out really. So.
No, I know Matt owned this movie and he watched it. I don't know what his impression of it was because I never asked him. But I was under the impression this was a well-regarded movie.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
it was
I remember liking it more than I did watching it this time around. But I still think I think the cinematography is good, but like what you're saying, like when they do a lot of shake cam stuff, that's when it gets bad. But like a lot of their like wide shots of stuff and like slow motion and stuff like that stuff looks good.
Well, I just kept picking apart the movie when I was watching it because because it doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of illogical fallacies in it, where it's like it gets to I think it's the second game, and they're in like the second quarter, and there are 3 minutes left to go, and they're down by like 14 points. And so it starts off the second quarter, they're doing their drive to end the half, and then it's like they get down to the touchdown. They probably spent like a minute or 2 minutes playing with the ball, and then there's still the same amount of time left on the clock. Like nothing happened. It is like, what the fuck kind of shit? Like that, and like Dennis.
It feels like a TV series that got condensed into a movie.
Okay. Because like Dennis Quaid's.
I don't think they're ever going to make a TV series, but you can see this movie being a TV series and like all the character, basically every character getting their own like focus on each episode, and like the seasons spread out in a way that makes more sense. Where it's like here you have to like, all right, you have the old veteran quarterback, he goes down, and like the young guy comes in, and he has to have a whole career turnaround to the point where like he's making music videos on MTV. It's like a lot of this like logically doesn't make sense. It's like they're only playing like 6 more games than the rest of the season, but it seems like they play 2 seasons worth of football in an hour and a half.
Yeah, like the whole music video thing seems to happen like instantly, even though you think that would take a long time for him to gain enough credibility and clout to do that.
Yeah.
But it happens over like a week after his first game, which he still loses. And then it's like Dennis Quaid's character doesn't make any goddamn sense because he's hurt in the beginning of the film, and yes, he has a herniated disc. That's bad. But then he finally brings up that he's feeling shittier and he has way more problems than he let on. It's like, I get it. He probably covered it up just like the guy that has the neck injury that wants to die on the field. But at the same time, it's like that comes out of nowhere too. And like at the back end of the movie, it's like that doesn't make it.
I mean, that's a good. Well, what that serves well for is the whole like James Woods, where he's just pumping these guys full of drugs just to keep them on the field. Because even though they're like broken down, like they're still talented enough when hopped up on drugs that they're worth something.
Yeah.
And I like the after credit thing too, with like Al Pacino like starting off a new coaching thing and poaching Jamie Foxx's character. And then I was like, they kept talking about his contract and like what he's going to do next year, but it sounded like he was under team control next year, or at least they were talking about offering more money. So it's like, well, his contract must be up, but that's weird that he just got to sign with somebody else without talking to his old team. So I mean, it's just
that's called dramatic license.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah,
just kind of
because so when he announces that they're signing the guy like at his retirement press conference, like that's all a lot of nonsensical, but dramatically it's like, oh. But also it seemed like, are they gonna make a sequel? It's like, well, obviously they are, but.
I actually kind of wanted to see them in the new team more, actually. But the same, I mean, I kind of wish they would have bridged that and actually had less of the old shit because it didn't make that wasn't the more impactful part of the movie, I guess. Because like Jamie Foxx being a bitter know-it-all to a crass veteran pretty quickly.
Actually, like one of the things I'm probably most disappointed in this movie is like its music choices. Like individually, every song they use in this movie is like that's a good song. But then, like, it's kind of all over the place. The song comes in, they use it for about 30 seconds, and the song goes away. It's like, why did you even use the song?
Yeah, it did have a weird soundtrack. And it seemed like, they intercut a lot of. It's just like Al Pacino's speech in the locker room. That was good, and that was actually understated for Al Pacino. But they did those weird camera switches where they would zoom in on people's faces who were looking confused and or angry, and then they would zoom back to Al Pacino giving his speech, and then because a lot of these football movies have that coach's speech movie, so Oliver Stone was going to do something original, but he did a lot of like JFK camera trickery, where and it was like, oh, we're doing this again, for no reason, except to just kind of break up the.
Unless it hides an edit, like unless they like were like really cutting a lot of shit out of the movie and that just hid edits or something.
I like how they had an inspirational pregame speech after Jamie Foxx talked about the bullshit halftime speeches or whatever the movie is. Like the halftime speeches are bullshit and unfair and not truthful, but the pregame speeches are totally one that's legit.
But
Uh,
but I mean,
Uh.
this is the movie that made Jamie Foxx a star, or at least you could give him a leading man dramatic role. So
Yeah.
like, and he's good in this. So
This was interesting casting change. The original Jamie, the guy who was supposed to play Jamie Foxx was P. Diddy. And the reason, well, there's a lot of reasons. He brought a lot of people with him to set, which really pissed Oliver Stone. And they said also P. Diddy was never an athlete and he couldn't convincingly throw a football, whereas Jamie Foxx was the high school quarterback.
Huh.
So he could actually throw a football. He knew a lot about football, and he was very athletic too. And I forget, there were some other people that were supposed to be in it, and there was last minute changes made and scheduling because P. Diddy it was chalked up to scheduling conflicts because Oliver Stone wanted to work with him, and they didn't want to make enemies with him. So he said, "Well, yeah, it's this scheduling conflict. It's not going to work out." But so they got Jamie Foxx, who was only known mainly for his characters In Living Color at the time.
Yeah.
This was before Jamie Foxx was the universal man who could be a dramatic actor, a comedian, and win Academy Awards and all that. And this was before that, so. And he did a good job, but.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
even like because like in Living Color was like in what, like 91 or something like that. So this is 8 years after that. So.
Yeah. But yeah, this was like I said, it was an okay movie. Now that I've watched a lot of Oliver Stone movies, when this retrospective is like, yeah, I've seen all this camera trick work, and I actually liked Al Pacino's acting in this more because he seemed less on all the time, which was kind of cool to see. I mean, all the actors in this did great, and the movie itself was like fine, but it never really raised the bar too high.
But also, like it's a movie that's like just okay, but still like 2.5 hours.
Yeah, really long.
well, it's not as long as some of his other movies, so I'm okay with it. I don't know if I would have wanted this to be like a 3.5 hour movie. Like that would have actually bridged into the new team probably, but I don't know if I would have watched. I mean, because I found myself
like, I said, like if this was a 8-episode TV series, like I would have been fine watching that, but because it's a 2.5 hour movie, it just feels long.
Well, it's just like Nathan talking about like the weird camera trickery and like the shaky cam and the old football flashbacks. Like you probably could. Oh, sorry.
Well,
I was just gonna say you probably could have made this movie look a little more like an actual football movie instead of a drama that was a football movie. So
well, I mean that's what this was. Heighten the drama of football. Like this is, Oliver Stone's a football fan, and this is like him. Also, I don't know the co-writer, so I don't know what that guy does. So I don't know how much influence he has on the whole story or not.
Well, this movie was basically 3 spec scripts strung together.
Okay, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
One was written by an NFL, what was he, a tight end? And I forget the other two. They were movies about football, and this was he bought the rights to all 3 of them, and they were all kind of put together with the different ideas from each one. And like I said, the big problem with this movie is it's like, yeah, I know Oliver Stone's a football fan. He's always wanted to make a football movie, and to me, he made a 70s football movie in the 90s.
Yeah,
but with not as much heart as some of the 70s football movies had, because it was so slickly produced. You were almost like moved away from the people to a certain extent. Burt Reynolds made a lot of great football movies in the 70s.
Yeah. But I like some of the scenes where like it's in slow motion and like it follows the ball from like where he throws it and then it goes up in the air and comes down and it's all in slow motion. It's like, God, the focus puller on that must have had a fuck a lot hard of a time to do that shot.
I mean, the way they film this is like, this is how the NFL would love to shoot football games if they could figure out the technology.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot better now because they have the cameras that are like immediately overhead, so you do get that as close to that view as you can.
More of a cinematic look to it. But.
Yeah.
I want to ask Oliver Stone what the AFFA is, because I kept trying to like figure out what the fuck that stood for. I was like, the American Football Association.
Associated Football Franchises of America.
Okay.
Okay. I was gonna say, because I was like, the American fucking Football Association.
Well, also, like, everybody brings up like the history of like the NFL. So like, oh, in this universe, did the NFL get like output by the AFFA? So that's why it has the same past of the NFL, but it's new. But the future is the AFFA.
Yeah, this is where the lawyers set in on the script writing. Okay, this is what you say. This is what you can't.
And like the beginning of the film,
$50 million movie is not going to go up against the multi-billion-dollar NFL illegal imbroglio.
and then it's talking about the Dolphins in the beginning of it. It's like, oh, okay, you can have one kind of NFL franchise in the movie
Well,
mentioned, but like everybody else.
Well,
is
yeah,
Super
because it's
Bowl.
like they're competing Florida franchises. So like they're the Sharks, and then the cross town is their Dolphins. It's like, I do like the like it was like the Minnesota Americans. Like I do like the teams. Like and
Yeah.
the Knights. Like I like and the Sharks themselves. I mean, it's basically like Oakland, but then with a shark mascot. But like I think all that stuff like was like okay. Like I'd watch a football team. I'd watch these football teams if they existed.
Did you notice the Knights had a lot of Illuminati symbols?
No.
Pyramid with the I above the K. Our locker room, and of course that guy gets his eye knocked out on a field. Well, so
I
it
question
was,
how much that was real. I mean, it could have been real anyway.
I don't think that guy really lost his eye.
No, I'm just saying.
Is
like,
that
how,
based
what
on
was-
something that actually happened?
Yeah, what were the odds that would actually happen in a film game?
Maybe in the 70s. I know football was incredibly brutal in the 70s.
I know there's wrestlers that like they get hit so hard their eye popped out of their head, so I know of that.
Oh,
so,
okay. I guess I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was more like gouged out more than it was like popped out, I guess. So that's why. I mean, it's a cool scene, I guess, but at the same time, I like the iconography too of the Knights, because it's like, oh, the Red Cross and from the Crusades and fucking Illuminati symbols, and I was like, oh, that's actually a cool team. And it was like, too bad that's never going to exist in real life, but at the same so it's like, I wish they would have won, because I almost thought like the way the movie was going, like they actually would have lost their first playoff game. You know, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense that they lost like the next two or whatever, some shit. I don't.
Well,
I can't tell from.
I mean, like almost every one of these movies does it, but I do like that they don't win the championship; they just get like near it.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's like the thing in like Major League, like the end of Major League, like they make it into the playoffs, and then that's the end of the movie. You don't know if they win the championship. You don't know how well they did in the playoffs. It's like, no, they got there. That's the high of that movie. Is they just got into the playoffs.
Yeah. But this is far from my favorite football movie.
No, yeah, it's not my favorite football movie.
What is your favorite football movie?
It's between Remember the Titans and Friday Night Lights. Remember the Titans because it was more fraught with like, oh, this is really it was set. There was a lot of racism at that time, and it's being pulled ahead. And Friday Night Lights because it's just like it's real honest,
Yeah.
and it's also about high school football, which is almost worse because like totally you don't have lawyers backing your contract, and so you're just at the whims of angry townies and arrogant football coaches.
Yeah. I don't think I have a football movie other than like I like the what is it, the Little Giants? When we were kids.
Oh yeah,
That was a kids football movie, so
Oh, I don't remember that one. And I like all the ones from Burt Reynolds did in the 70s. The Longest Yard and
Yard.
Semi Tough have to be two of the best ones.
I think yeah.
Watching movies from another planet or something now.
I'm aware of like what was it, North Dallas 40 and stuff like that.
Yeah, North Dallas 40 is another good one.
But I've never seen it. But I think I've seen both Longest Yards. I think that's like the football movies that I can remember. But I'm not necessarily that big on sports movie, and less so football sports movies. But
I mean, my favorite sports movies are Moneyball and The Replacements, which is a football movie with Keanu Reeves.
oh, I don't remember
Cheat
liking
happened.
that at all.
Well, I mean, it's just I don't think it's a good movie per se, but it's
I mean,
like,
you can like it. I don't remember. Well, I mean, it was kind of funny.
Well, it got played a lot, so I got to look
Yeah.
at it a lot just because it's played on every major cable show. 'cause cheap.
It's inoffensive and it's kind of funny, but I don't know. But
I mean,
also-
I've only really,
but I-
I've only really seen Mark Wahlberg's Philadelphia Eagles movie,
Oh, I saw
Longest
that.
Yard,
That's on
Longest
what's
Yard,
it?
and Replacement.
Fuck, what is that? That's because it's the guy's name, but it's like unstoppable. But fuck, what's the guy's name? Fuck.
White guy. Like,
Yeah, he was the walk-on player, right?
Yeah, but it's like it's his name. It's a word, but that's like unstoppable. But it's like the guy's name is in the word. Fuck. I'll look it up.
I mean, that was an okay movie. I just don't like it because it's Disneyized or whatever. Like, it's fucking all,
Yeah.
changed around. I mean, it's real, kind of, but it's also not. So
I mean, it's
just
based
like,
on something, but they dramatize it because it's like it's not like that guy actually went on to like win anything. He just kind of like made the team, and then like, oh, next season he got cut or however it worked.
my least favorite football movie.
Invincible. His name's Vince.
Because my least favorite football movie is Radio. Like, that fucking movie was horrible.
Oh yeah. Was it Brian's
No.
song? That's another football movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that.
Now, the greatest sports film of all time is not a football movie; it's a basketball movie with Gene Hackman called Hoosiers.
Oh, okay.
That's probably one of the best sports movies ever made.
It's been a long time since I've seen that. I saw that in high school, and I haven't seen it since, so that kind of makes me want to see it again now.
I weirdly like baseball movies, even though I don't like baseball at all. But they make good movies.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other football movie I forgot about, Rudy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I probably like Rudy the best. Yeah.
Like, see what I was thinking about. I was like, oh, yeah, Rudy was actually pretty good. I don't know why I forgot about that movie, probably because I've seen it a million times. I mean, Major League's good. Fucking.
Well, I
mean,
like Bull Durham. Like that's pretty good. And then I've never seen The Natural, but it seems good.
It's good.
In Trouble with the Curveball was okay.
Now, the original Bad News Bears is also great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate it. The remake was shit. I don't know why. I mean, I know why that was made. Money grab.
But yeah, so Little Giants is basically Bad News Bears, but with football.
Oh, okay.
With football and Rick Moranis. That was Little Giants. But I was a kid at the time, so I was going.
I don't know. I have fond memories of it, but I haven't seen it since I was a kid.
Yeah, because it was for kids, so there's no reason for me to continue to watch it.
But I mean, otherwise, like what? Otherwise, like the Bench Warmers was another kind of sports movie, but that really sucked. With Rob Schneider and John Heater.
Oh, I remember that being way better than it should have been.
And then there's like a sequel for some reason that got greenlit, but the trailer looks horrible as shit because the first movie was horrible. So it's like I'm not gonna watch that.
You got basketball.
Oh yeah, Basketball. Yeah, I know that's actually a good movie. I like that movie. I don't know if it holds up anymore. I haven't seen it for like 10 years.
I think probably like my favorite sports movie of all time would probably be Major League. I just really like that because I think it just like it has authenticity, a great cast, and it's funny.
Well, it's like the only sports movie I haven't really watched a lot of is, the only golf movie I've seen is Happy Gilmore. I haven't seen Tin Cup. I haven't seen fucking.
Tin Cup's good.
Okay.
Have you seen Caddyshack?
Yeah, it was okay.
I mean, the
Well,
old.
it was built up. So I saw the original print of it at. There's a local like cheap theater that used to do like retro movie nights on Friday at midnight.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I think it was built up so much that I was like, oh, this is gonna be the funniest thing ever, and it was funny. I wouldn't say it was the best comedy I've ever seen.
I mean,
But it was-
it's of its time though. So.
yeah.
Yeah.
70s.
It was good. Bill Murray has a good performance. Rodney Dangerfield's good. Chevy Chase is good. But would I call it a movie that I love? No. It's okay. It's a product of its time. It's all about. It's a good movie, and it's not anything bad. It's just something I don't like. I'm not going to watch it like a million times.
You got The Legend of Baggard Vance, which is
I've never seen that.
it's fine. You don't need to watch it.
Is that Matt Damon and Will Smith?
Yeah. That was one of those the magical black men movies.
Oh. That's right. Shit. Because I haven't watched the Tiger Woods documentary. I think that'll be my next golf movie. But other than that, I can't really think of another one. I swear there's probably another two, but I'm.
What about
I've
hockey
seen-
movies? I've never. What are the big hockey movies?
The Goon. I thought that was okay.
What was the one about the U.S. hockey team when they beat the Russians? In
Oh, Miracle.
Yeah, is that any good?
Yeah, I heard it was good. I haven't seen it. Is that Kurt
Same.
Russell's in that?
Yeah.
What's the one with Paul Newman?
Color of Money? Oh, I don't know.
Oh wait, no, it's not Paul Newman. Fuck, who is it? It's like Scott Conn or something. Or no, one of the James Conn.
James Caan.
Maybe I can't remember. There's some like big hockey movie that I've never seen. Like probably the most, but it's like in the 70s or something.
Well, because I mean, otherwise hockey movie, I'd say Mighty Ducks.
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah.
well, I mean, now that they're making a remake of it or a sequel or whatever the fuck it is.
Oh, it's a TV series. I think it's coming to Disney.
Oh, it's a TV series, not a movie.
Yeah, but they're bringing Emilio Estevez.
I like how the
Well, I heard people say it's going to be kind of like Cobra Kai, where it's like the good guys are now become the arrogant bad guys, and the bad guys are going to like get redemption.
Well, I mean, Emilio Estevez from the trailer already seems like really salty and like he didn't learn anything from all the movies he was in with that. So it's like, well, okay, I guess that's the way.
I had to coach a kid's hockey team because I got caught drunk driving.
And now I don't get caught drunk driving because I was drunk driving this Zamboni here in this ice rink. James Conn was in Rollerball. That's
Slap shot. That's it.
okay. Oh yeah, that's right.
Paul Newman.
Yep.
They had the two twins in it that were. hockey
the Goon. I like the Goon.
Yeah, the sequel I haven't seen, but I don't know if that's any good or not.
Yeah. I have. I didn't necessarily avoid it, but I also didn't go out looking for it. So.
But no,
Hey,
sports movies are not my favorite draw, but at the same
No.
time, there can be.
I mean, it's like I don't know. It's like there's inherent drama in sports itself, and they usually make for good movies. But also, like I don't care. Like I don't even watch regular sports. Like I don't necessarily want to watch a movie about sports.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I learned there was a new book by Eric Larson, so it arrived today by mail.
Oh, is that the Devil in the White City guy?
It's the Churchill and the London Blitz at the same time. Because that's his new book or whatever. So, I mean, because the last one was the one about Hitler and the brown shirts and the American ambassador in Germany.
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't-
East.
Because this one's called The Splendid and the Vile.
Huh.
So I didn't actually hear of it because I was buying another Mark to buy book. Sorry, I'm trying to butcher his name. I just didn't remember.
Matt Taibbi, not Mark.
Matt Taibbi.
Not
Okay.
Mark Tibia.
So I bought The Divide, American Injustice, and the Age of the Wealth Gap, and then also Splendid and the Vile. So I got that today along with my lamp and other shit. But I haven't. I just finished The Radium Girls, which is my pick for the next book, and that was a fucking depressing as shit book. One of the
Spoilers.
one of the few times I've cried during reading a book because it's really fucking really downbeat. But yeah, it was a good book. I recommend it. I recommend it, but still.
I mean, we already bought it, so.
Well, I know. I should have offered to actually buy it for you guys because you guys have already helped me out a lot with that shit. So I don't know why the hell I didn't do that. But next book's on me, guys. Just tell me. I'll give you my credit card number. Just don't use it for anything else.
We're reading the Bible.
Oh, jeez. Which version? King James? No, it's just there's a lot of stuff you guys do for me, and I always want to thank you guys because it's always nice to have access to movies I never would have seen otherwise.
Well, we like you to have it on the show, and this is like we don't pay you, so we pay you in stuff.
When did I ever? I don't think Nathan ever he doesn't get paid from this either, and
No,
neither
none of us
do
get
you.
paid. No, we all lose money on this.
But we have some autonomy.
We don't have any sponsors to answer to,
Right.
except for Big Penis Pills.
Blue
We
Chew.
love our big. Oh, I did watch have you guys heard of the movie No Eye and Threesome?
No.
No.
Okay, so there's this New Zealand director that's doing a documentary about him and his fiance's polyamorous open relationship they're going to do a year before they get married. It's on HBO Max. Because I thought I clicked on the trailer, but I clicked on play, so I was like, I got an hour and a half to kill. Like, why not?
Is it a show or a movie?
It's a movie. It's a documentary about him, like the whole what transpires between them trying an open relationship, polyamorous relationship.
The guy from Silicon Valley. So him and his wife have an open relationship, and they're supposed to be making a comedy series about their life.
Jesus, isn't it the rumor that he's the one with the open relationship, and she just lets him do it because he's a fucking idiot? But I mean,
probably. I
mean, his whole rant, like,
they say it saved their marriage, so it's like
fucking bullshit. It always saves people's marriage when they want a divorce because they want to fuck other people, and then they're allowed to inside of a marriage. Like the whole argument during this documentary is that there's a third person that comes along always and to ruin somebody's relationship. Either somebody's going to be distracted or carried away by this third person. So it's better to include that third or fourth person in the relationship than to let them sabotage it. And it was like, well, say me and my wife want to open our relationship and she wants to leave me later on down the road for person B. Is it better to let her do that over 5 years or right away? Because I don't know. Either way, you still lose her. So, I mean, which one's
I hate that guy, but he's such a good dude.
Well, because that's exactly what fucking happens in the documentary. It's like they have a bunch of ground rules that they can only have sex with same-sex partners because he's like wants to experiment with his bi side, and she's fine with it. But then she immediately starts fucking every man that roams into her home of vision. But at the same time, it's like he doesn't really act upon anything, and he seems more, God damn it, more docile, more accepting.
I mean, that always seems like the downside of those relationships. That always seems to be a one-sided thing, where it's like a dare. It's like, well, should we open up a relationship? It's like, yeah. It's like this is the beginning of the end.
It's the other downside too, just because it's like, well, of course, women are going to get all the whatever they want because it's women. People can't fuck on a regular basis, so of course they're going to get more action. But at the same time,
I couldn't tell you.
It's just,
I mean, I also assume that, but I don't know. So.
Well, no, it's one point he's talking to his friend because he goes over to explain. It's like, oh, it's 6 months before the wedding now, and this is what we're doing. Like, we each have a girlfriend or boyfriend in certain towns, and so his friend's like, it's like that doesn't make any sense. He's like, well, you gotta spread the love out because you got more love than just for one person. And the guy was trying to explain, it's like, well, it's like you having kids. You don't just love one of them, you love all of them. And his friend was like, well, you don't fuck your kids though. And then he just shuts up after that. I thought it was an interesting movie because they do some cool things with it. There's a twist at the ending I won't ruin if you want to watch it, but he did a good job of it. And I don't know if he's actually done stuff before because he seems like he works in the industry, at least in New Zealand.
How's there a twist at the end if it's a documentary?
Oh, you'll see. If you want me to explain it to you, or do you want me to just like?
I don't think I'll watch it. So, Nathan?
Go ahead, shoot.
Okay.
All right. So this has all happened 3 years in the past. And he's using actresses to reenact all this as a movie.
Oh, okay.
He's using real audio from his ex-girlfriend that's actually happened with when she left him for another man she fell in love with while they're in an open relationship with. And so he's using all this dialogue and casting all these people to do this and recreate it and relive it again and do it authentically. But then at the end, he finally, because he even says, I made myself look like the victim the whole time, but really I was just as much to blame as, she was, because he finally, shows all these videos he recorded, because he tries to use all these authentic videos from when they're, talking through each other through the internet, and then he recreates scenes with the new actress to make it look like she's the girlfriend, which is really cool, and I like that because it's like he does a lot of that, or a lot of creative stuff like that, and does a really good job of it, because I didn't once think they weren't an actual couple, because they actually had really good chemistry. But at the same time, I thought it was really, I don't know, something I wasn't expecting at all, obviously, and it was nice to see. I mean, I didn't agree with him at all. I thought he was totally the victim, because she seemed like she totally disagreed with every rule they set and tried to break them in any instance. But at the same time, that's just his understanding of it. But he seems like he wasn't going to get an open relationship again, because the movie seems to end when the man she's now in love with and him and her have a three-way, and then the two guys fucking blow each other, and then he lets him fuck her, and then they just have an endless marathon fuck session for the day. And it's like, okay, like this seems like this relationship is totally over, and he seems to have that candid epiphany on video, and it looks like the real thing, or as far as like the real video. But at the same time, I thought it was a surprising, worthwhile watch for something I kind of accidentally watched. But it was. I don't think everybody's ever going to duplicate that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, plus he's like a weird combination of half Indian and half German. So it's it's like he wants to get married in a sari, or his wife wants to get married in a sari and have a red dot. And he wants to have like Indian garb, but he's also like a no nonsense German guy. So it's a odd combination, but it works.
I was on a podcast recently. This is not even related, but they're talking about the guy who wrote Saturday Night Fever,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently he was bipolar.
Okay.
And they would hire like writers to like help him write, and basically he would just be like on his episodes, and people would just like record the things he says, and then that would just like end up in movies. Like, whoa, that's a striking thing to say, and it's like, put it in the script.
You're just there, just recording his madness, and it's like, we're gonna string this together.
Yep.
And make a bunch of money.
Why not?
Yeah, that's a movie I've never seen, but like they made it sound pretty interesting. It's like, oh, I thought that was just like a dance movie, but apparently it's a pretty like hardcore drama. So.
Yeah, actually, it is. Yeah, pretty good.
A lot of weird John Travolta movies.
Yeah, that documentary you're talking about just sounds like two deeply immoral people doing deeply immoral.
Well, because it's just, I don't know. It was like hard to watch because it's basically him like maybe 30 minutes into it after they've opened their relationship, and she's away in another town, and like every night it seems like she's streaming sex from having sex with somebody else to him because they're open about it, but he's just sitting there by himself, not doing anything in an open relationship. And he's just like he literally is trying to, after they have sex on video or whatever, and she goes to clean up or whatever, he's trying to have casual conversations with the guy she just had sex with, where it's like, hey, how's it going? And the guy's like, what? He's like, well, I just, what do you do for work? And he's like, I don't want to fucking talk to you. And it's like, yeah, I can see that, because it's just the guy wanting random sex with somebody. It's not a guy that wants to like chat with the person she's involved with after he has sex with her.
So do you love her?
Dynamics of the relationship.
Yeah, it was just like, it seemed like right away it was totally skewed in her favor. Like she seemed like she's an actress, and he's somebody that works in like directing and editing film and stuff like that.
I think.
And yeah, he does. I'm sorry.
No, this should be like M. Night Shyamalan's next movie.
Instead of the ocean that makes you old one, because that looks stupid as shit.
Well, most of M. Night Shyamalan's movies by now are stupid as shit. So.
Well, I know, but like I thought he redeemed himself a little bit with was it Heritage or Ants? I can't remember. The one where basically like there's two mental patients inside their grandparents' house, and that one's actually half
Sweet
interesting.
Home. I think that's
The
Okay.
Visit.
Oh,
That's okay. But it's like after that, he hasn't done a good fucking movie.
No, well, I like Split. I thought Split was pretty good.
I thought James McAvoy was the good thing in Split, and everything else was shit.
Well, also, like weirdly, what I like about that movie is they actually like spent it was like a really low budget. It's like, oh, good for him. He made a low budget movie. Because I mean, you think about like somehow they spent like $120 million to make Signs. It's like, what went into that movie that cost $120 million? Like, I know Mel Gibson at the time was making like $25 million, but like, it's like, what did M. Night get 20 million direct, 20 million to write? Like, this is fucking bullshit. But hey, that was a good movie. He got his, so whatever. Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the last legit major studio movie that's like halfway decent from him.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I never saw the sequel to Split where they kind of combine all the Unbreakable and Split stuff.
the one where he ruins his own universe and makes a movie everybody hated.
Yeah, I think it's just called Glass, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Glass.
I never saw it because like I know the twist, and it's like that seems interesting, but also that kills the whole franchise.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's like I know the twist. That's what happens, so it kills everything, and it's like, wow, you ruined that, didn't you? You had something you could literally just legitimately make like 4 or 5 movies out of and make a shit ton of money, and then you ruined it. in one
What if we
movie.
made 2? Well, I guess 3 technically.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, it's just like I don't get his decision making because, like, I don't know if it was his decision to do the last Airbender movie or if it was a studio pressure. But either way, that's still like one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, I mean,
And
he produced the cartoon series, so I think they felt like, well, shit, we're gonna make a movie. He's a producer. He's the best director we have on board. Like, why don't we just give it to him? And then somehow he turned it into shit. So whatever.
I didn't know he produced the fucking thing. That's fucking sad. He produced it and he couldn't make a better movie than that. That's
Yep.
fucking Jesus Christ.
Uh-huh.
Oh god. I thought he had nothing to do with it. It was just more of like the studio contract. Like you got to direct this movie.
No,
And
that was a passion project.
Wow, that's the worst. That's like the worst. Like that's a lazy person passion project. I really like this, but let's make it the worst thing you've ever seen. Make it like I've never watched or cared about this thing at all.
But wait, Andrew, what if that's the twist?
That is okay. That I like the movie. Now. It legitimizes it and makes it something I actually care about now because it's like every M. Night Shyamalan movie has a twist, and this is the best twist ever. This is something I love and I'm highly
Wow,
engaged
this
with. And
sucks.
I care
It's
about.
amazing.
M. Night Shyamalan's whole career is just a twist.
Thank you. You saved that movie for me. You really did. I should really buy 5 copies of that so I always have it to watch. Jesus Christ.
What's the secret
That-
ingredient? It sucks.
But that's the twist.
It's unironically sucks too. It's not even trying to be like, well, we fucked this up. No, it's going to take itself very seriously, and it sucks.
Although I do just completely ironically love The Happening. That's such a terrible movie, but there's great bits to it. It's like, oh wow, people are killing themselves. That's fucked up. And then it's just like horrible acting by Mark Wahlberg. I don't buy him as a high school science teacher whatsoever.
Yeah, they could have made him a construction worker and told the same story. And I was one of the guys, like, I was half in on that movie. It's like, this is sort of cool. Oh, no, it's not. Fuck. It's not good.
When the guy runs himself over the lawnmower, that was great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's hardcore.
Or when people just like with the one gun start shooting themselves, like, oh Jesus Christ.
I think it would have been a better movie if he was a construction worker and he has a thick Boston accent. So every time somebody does something stupid like run themselves over the lawnmower and throw themselves off a building, he just goes, "What the fuck?" That's just the whole movie. It's just him going, "What the fuck?" Just running away from it and just like speaking in thick Boston accent. That's much better movie.
Because the M. Night Shyamalan was a director I really liked a lot of his movies for a long time. I even liked Lady in the Water for some weird reason. I just watched that over and over again. Again, not that there was anything like particularly striking about it, just looked cool. And Paul Giamatti did a good job with a very weird script. But yeah, I don't know what that guy was. I don't know what he's thinking. I think he's one of those people that thinks he's too smart for everyone else, and he's not. He's like, I'm gonna fool you all. I was like, no, you're not. You're just gonna annoy the shit out of us.
Why do you
Because I actually like that movie too. So, I mean, it has actually good design in it and an actually decent story. Like, it's not a great story, but it's better than his other movies.
My favorite one he ever did was Signs because of the way it builds tension. It's like that was a well constructed movie. But and the payoff, like some people didn't like it, was like, where did you think this was going to go? We War of the Worlds, where they're, it's like it had to be something like that. But
I just kind of,
I mean, for the budget,
I kind of just wish he kind of expanded out more, because I always felt like, oh, this is the next Steven Spielberg, but like he never really had the depth that Spielberg. But also Spielberg could take any script and make it good, where it's like M. Night kind of needs to write his movies.
yeah,
I don't know how much he's directed like other people's scripts or not. I'm not sure.
I don't know if he has. I'm not. Yeah, he was someone who's like, you thought this was like, oh, this is the beginning of a great career, and it's like, well, no. And I
Well,
don't know
no,
what
it's just
that is because he seems to have some. He knows what he's doing to a certain point, but then, well, I mean, I always think there's a lot of arrogance
I don't
there.
know. Also, Robert Zemeckis like was on his way to be like he's essentially the next Spielberg, and like look at him now. Like what the fuck is he doing?
Some people go nuts.
he really got into those 3D animated movies with like the Polar Express.
Polar
and-
Express and
Oh, he just lost his fucking mind because now he's back into making traditional movies and like they're all trash.
what was the weird one? Didn't he do Beowulf?
Yeah,
Yeah, which sounded cool, but ended up being an unwatchable mess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew, did you ever see Flight?
no,
The one with Denzel Washington?
no, never saw that one.
Holy shit. Like, there's a good movie in there somewhere, but that is
Yeah.
a fucking awful movie.
It has all the hallmarks of being great from the beginning. Oh, this is going to be amazing.
It's like Denzel Washington and John Goodman are good in that movie, and they still fuck it up.
Well, it's just I've never really been drawn to aviation movies, so it was like something I never really wanted to see.
It's
So-
not even about it.
Oh, it's not even about it. Okay,
No, it's not even about the plane crash. I mean, it is, but like most of that.
I thought that was the whole premise of the movie because that seemed like that from the trailer. To be honest,
well,
yeah,
that's
I
because
mean-
they took the best parts to get people in the theaters.
I mean, like the movie
Oh.
starts with like this girl leaving a porn set or some shit. Like, what does this have to do with anything? And then it doesn't mean anything. That is that is an
that's
awful
sad.
movie. But
Well, 'cause Denzel Washington-
fascinating awful.
well, I mean, because Denzel Washington is such a good actor. Like, The Little Things was an okay movie, but it's not a waste of his talent like that would be.
Well, no,
I mean, I'm sure-
he's good in it. He elevates the material, but like that, a lot of that, like I said, like there's a good movie in there somewhere, but it's a long movie. There's a lot of things they throw in there just unnecessary. It's like, and the best parts are like, because it's like, were you drunk when you flew this plane? And like, he gets drunk at the end, and like John Goodman are like giving him this cocktail of drugs to try to make him seem normal to go into court, and it's hilarious. Because John Goodman's good. He's like his drug handler, and it's
Yeah.
but yeah, that's an awful movie.
Well, thanks
I-
for saving me to watch that. I guess.
Well, as a curiosity, I'd say like, hey, check that movie out. But like, then he also did that wire walking movie, which I don't know if that's good or not. And what's that? It's like that one something halftime walk. Like that was the other movie he did.
Oh yeah, I've seen trailers for that. I thought it looked stupid as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked interesting as a premise and maybe an interesting experiment movie, but it looked stupid as shit
Yeah,
as
well,
an actual good movie.
Yeah, because he really fucked around with like IMAX stuff with that movie, so it's like the only ways I don't know if that movie's good or not, but the only way to really get anything out of it is to see it in IMAX.
Well, because like the Joseph Gordon-Levitt like tightrope one, like that looked kind of interesting, but also boring as shit. So I didn't watch it. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I don't think he necessarily chooses bad projects, but that one I wasn't hyped to see.
Also, like I
And
know
then-
that whole thing. Like, there's a really great documentary that I also haven't seen, but I heard the documentary is better than that movie. So
I imagine it would be because I think the documentary would actually be more interesting and more keeping your attention instead of the movie,
yeah,
which is sad because Hollywood should dramatize something more to make it more interesting than the documentary. But I think the documentary in that case, I believe it would be better. I did see clips of the documentary though; it did seem pretty good just from the 10 minutes I watched the clips. But I don't know. But yeah, I mean that director, if that's his body of work, I'm surprised he'd still be directing at this point. But I guess I don't know how much the budgets were on those movies.
oh, those like $100 million movies.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
They're expensive movies.
I mean, do you know Robert Zemeckis? Do you know his other stuff?
Fuck. I want to say
Like Forrest Gump, Back to the Future,
like
Cast.
Castaway,
Roger,
which is
Rabbit.
like, oh yeah, so really good movies up until he hit CGI and then they turn all the
yeah,
garbage.
yeah,
So
yeah. That's the turnaround. That's what he turned into shit.
maybe the CGI melted his brain.
Pretty much.
Most CGI movies, except for Beowulf, all made money,
Yeah.
but none of them are well regarded as like.
Well, I've only seen Beowulf. I didn't see the fucking Polar Express piece of shit.
Well, it's a family. Well, also he did that. What he did that Jim Carrey one too, right?
Yeah, the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that either.
Polar Express is a fine like family kids movie, but it's just everyone looks very strange. The whole movie is an homage to the Uncanny Valley.
Well, he's the director in Pinocchio, the director in The King, The Witches. I don't know what that one is.
That was another COVID clusterfuck movie that's keeps getting pushed.
Oh,
back.
is that the one with? Oh, okay, never mind, wrong one. Welcome to Marwen. Oh, Oh, yeah, that's right. He did direct that. And it got really bad reviews too. Allied. Even though I kind of still want to see it because it seems like it might be interesting, but also, yeah, I don't.
That's the one with Brad Pitt during World War II.
No, Welcome to Marwen. Steve Carell, where he's like living his shit through
Oh,
like
the
dolls.
And, okay,
Yeah.
that looked.
It kind of seems like it might be just like good to watch as entertainment, but not as an actual movie. So, yeah, I mean, he has a lot of good movies, 2000 and before, but after that, it's all crap. Wow. Okay.
And I'd say like Back to the Future is like one of those movies like it's a perfect movie, and that's like the start of his career. He did that movie
Yeah.
Used Cars, which I never seen, but I hear it's good. And then
Oh, I did
fucking-
Romancing the Stone. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I like that movie.
I don't know what Amazing Stories is.
Oh, he just did a
TV anthology.
yeah, that's like one of those where like 4 directors direct a sequence, and he was just one of the directors there.
Oh, okay. Because also there's a TV series after that too, but it seemed like it was the same shit.
Yeah, it's an anthology series. It's like the Twilight Zone movie that the Amazing Stories movies is, or was that just a TV one, or was it a movie?
I think it was a TV show.
Well, it was both. But
Well, okay, so it's a TV credit and a movie credit.
okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about the movie aspect of it.
Because there's also Death Becomes Her, which I liked at the time.
Yeah. That's good.
What Lies Beneath, another good movie. I've never seen Contact, but I've heard it's good.
That's a great movie.
Yeah.
So how the hell did he go from all those movies to Polar Express, Beowulf, Flight, Pinocchio, and fucking The Walk?
Well, it seemed like he wanted to make. It seemed like he wanted to make family-friendly movies, I guess, or something. But
who gives a shit?
I mean, I think all those CG movies, except for Beowulf, made money. So I don't know how you like basically turned off the talent toes somehow. Like, I don't know how to make movies anymore.
Probably because he went the whole family angle and he killed all creativity. He just wanted to make it family friendly and nothing else.
Well, it's not like really like his other movies are not family friendly, but I mean,
I know, but
Back to the Future is pretty family friendly, except for all the rapey stuff. But that's just time.
That was
Well,
acceptable
I mean,
at the time.
I think it's more of a lens thing. If you just keep that in mind all the time, it's like, I just want to make an experience that everybody can enjoy and no one's offended. That really limits your creativity because then you're just thinking about one thing instead of just being open to changes and doing something good with your film. So I think he just limited himself because one, CGI seems to spoil his brain and he seems obsessed with Disney.
And maybe he just got sober and it turned out the talent was the alcohol. Maybe that's why he made Flight. I think Flight was his first. I think Flight was his return to live action movies, and that explains his whole career.
Yeah, once they get sober, it sucks all the air out of the room.
That man a goddamn
5 more years of him in an early death, but 5 great, talented, action-packed field years. You get 30 years of a career dying. That's why sobriety is overrated.
I mean, yes, I get it. Things are horrible for you, like drugs and alcohol. But if it makes you make a good movie people really care about and it really holds up, fine. That's a lot better than beating your kids.
Kill yourself for my entertainment.
Yeah, as long as I'm amused.
I'm glad you saw the joke in that.
That's all I got for this week. You guys got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well, this week for the American Creed Factory podcast, this is Nathan.
This is gone.